Okay, take two. Mark here with another episode of working on the Buick, and going to try something a little bit different. Instead of talking about what I've done, I've had a request to actually show some of the work that I'm doing as I'm doing it, which should be interesting, and takes a little bit more prep to get ready for that. But today I want to try and finish up the transmission mount and maybe drop the gas tank so I can take that to the radiator shop and get it cleaned, and if there's any leaks, get those repaired. So that'll be a good thing to get done. As you'll see, in addition to my coveralls, when I'm under the car, I'm also wearing safety glasses, and then a hat which basically just keeps my hair clean because it's really dirty under the car. So without further ado, I'm going to start and juice up the gas tank screws and stuff so that when I go to turn them, I might actually have a chance of getting that done. So let's see. Turn this around. So here we are, looking at the gas tank. And people have actually been mechanics. This is probably simple stuff, but get these guys a chance at loosening up the rust. And see if I can get further in here and get okay. So here's the fuel line coming in. Follows the frame from the back of the car up to the front of the car. And like there's a coupling there. That's good. Hit that. So that's always fun. So we'll let those things loosen, and hopefully when I come back to it, they won't be as hard to take out as they would have been. But we'll see. So we're done with that. So welcome to the underside of the Buick, where I've been working since last May, basically. Under the seat heater, new fan, putting in the hoses that supply the coolant to the under the seat heater. We got emergency brake cable, we got new brake lines, brake cylinder, master cylinder, and then where I'm currently working is here, which is with the Dynaflow transmission, replacing the thrust plate pad, this rubber section here, right there, and then also doing the transmission mount, which this is the bottom of it, goes up and it's supposed to bolt into the transmission case. So that's where I've been somewhat stalled. As you can see, can I see? That large hole is actually this access to get to the holes to bolt in the upper part of the transmission mount. The transmission mount controls movement of the transmission up and down, and the thrust plate controls movement forward and back. And since those had been broken on the before, they had been allowed to move around, so I've had to do some prying around to get things lined up, and I'm still just a little bit off, and so I'm going to try and get that fixed today. These lines here are for the transmission cooler, which sits underneath. This is the speedometer cable where it goes into the case. Here, where you see this rubber thing covered with, well, not covered, but it has transmission fluid on it, is where the legendary torque ball that sits. Because the Buick has an enclosed drive shaft called a torque tube, and at the front of it, instead of it having a U-joint, it has a torque ball. And some seals have gone bad in there, and that'll be a job in the very near future to take this apart and get in and replace those seals. I am going to put this down for a little bit so I can get things positioned, and basically I want to get a jack in here to just lift the back of the transmission just, 1/8 of an inch, no more than 1/4 of an inch, and hopefully get everything to line up. And then I can start the bolts, and we'll be on the downside of this job. So I'm going to turn this off for now. Well, this afternoon, the Buick won, I think. Ended up taking the transmission mount apart so I could try the bolts independently of the mount directly into the transmission, and none of the bolts that I have, which all came out of that piece, fit. They go about 3/4 of a turn and then lock up. So I'm wondering if the last guy who was in there lost the bolts and just cross-threaded the closest ones he could find. So I'm going to have to figure out what the thread pitch is and get some of those bolts. At least I hope that's what the issue is going to be. Started on the gas tank and got this. The straps came loose much faster than the fuel line. So soak that some more, and that might take several days of soaking to get to the point where it will come off. And if it won't unscrew nicely, I can always just cut it off with a pair of tin snips. And I was planning on replacing the lines anyway, so that might be the easiest thing to do. Then I can take it up to the radiator shop and get it boiled out and test it and repaired. So that's all I have for today, other than the old saying that sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. And today I feel like the bug. Anyways, thank you.